Hey everyone, it's Amy Sherman from MLive and Michigan's Best, and it's my favorite time of the week. It's time for Beer of the Week, and I could not be more excited to introduce our guests this week. They're my good friends from Blackrocks Brewing in Marquette, Andy and Dave. Welcome to Beer of the Week, guys.
Hey, Amy.
Thanks, Amy. Great to see you, even though it's through a screen. I'd like to see you in person, of course.
I would too. I was so looking forward to coming back up to the brewery. We got pulled off the road right before St. Patrick's Day. We were actually on our way to the UP, and we were so disappointed. And we haven't been able, obviously, to go back up since. But you guys have been hanging in there, making beer for all of us to enjoy across the state of Michigan, right?
For sure.
That's correct. Yep.
Production site's been rolling recently, kind of back open, outside only. People spaced out. Seemed to work pretty well over Memorial Day weekend, and maybe a template we can follow throughout the summer.
I was excited to hear that everyone up in the UP could open if they chose to, and a lot of people decided to maybe take a minute. And there's a lot of rules and regulations that you had to follow, and you guys made some pretty big changes at your pub on 3rd Street for people to still be able to come in and enjoy. What can they expect if they happen to come visit you guys?
Well, we do have guidelines placed throughout the pub. We have at least 2 rows of duct tape on the ground, and outside seating only for now. Fortunately, it's summer. Occasionally it's raining, and we do have some covered areas as well. But outside seating only. Masks are required while you're standing, but once you're sitting in your seat, you can take your mask off. Groups can sit together, and tables are spaced appropriately. There's rooms for singles and couples who come as well. So, a lot of X's on the ground, but it actually seems relatively manageable. Having a hosting position at an establishment like a tap room where you don't have food all the time is something kind of new, and it's something we'll be integrating into our business model.
Well, you guys are lucky that you have a really beautiful outside area that people can enjoy. And Dave, tell people if they haven't been to the brewery in Marquette, what's it like outside at Blackrocks?
In years past, once we started to expand the patio, we used to just have the front patio and the porch, and then we expanded the back area to increase the patio space. We put a fire pit in the middle, some Adirondack chairs sitting around there. But, even with the restrictions in place, we were, lucky or smart. Lucky wins all the time, but we had ample spacing for the tables that we had in place, as well as some of the little corner nooks. So we're able to fit quite a bit of people in there. And, I can say Andy's done a really great job in kind of spearheading the safety and the protocols in place. And it's, 99% people were just super happy to be able to get out. So they were very compliant. I think the biggest thing is people forget they have masks, and they should be wearing masks when they're either going to order a beer or go to the bathroom. And, but it's, even in this situation, it's a real beautiful place to be outdoors, and we spend so much of it indoors in the UP that and there's more on the way. So we're going to find out about that soon, but that's a little.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, you do have some exciting things that are happening. Now I have a question just about the experience of coming, out again. Did anyone accidentally take a sip of their beer and not take their mask off?
Oh,
I think right? I might have.
Because you get so used to it. I can see me doing that. Right. Well, we are going to get to Beer of the Week in a little bit, because it's a beer that I've been waiting for several weeks now downstate. But that was released a little bit earlier. But I know that if people want to come visit, you have a full list of kind of your instructions and guidelines on your Facebook page that they can follow, right?
Absolutely. And when you do get to the pub, there's signage everywhere. The big thing is we want to make sure that the guidelines are set and people are aware of what is expected as customers to come into the pub. And also, I think it's really calming to know that everybody who's in there knows this. And this is what we're all trying to stick with, and the guidelines to keep us safe. So
it's important. So let's share with everyone a little bit of the story of Blackrocks, because I think it's especially important right now, because you actually got started in the last economic downturn in 2010, when things were kind of changing for your industries, and you decided to take a risk on turning a homebrew habit into an actual career. So how did that go down?
Yeah, habit might be a short term. It might be it was maybe a full blown addiction at that point.
I love it.
So yeah, it was 2010, we our industry, and it was a little after the '08 crash, but our industry, we were in the pharmaceutical industry, and it was 2010 where it started to kind of really go south for sales reps, which Andy and I both were for the same company. And so prior to that, we had been doing the homebrew addiction, and you know, you sit around the boil kettle and think and dream and plan and scheme and scam and do all the things that you can for that hour and a half that you're boiling. And so we had always thought it would be really cool to open a brewery. Maybe when we retired, we get the gold watch and we fund some young kids to do it. But that obviously became more of a reality and a reboot than we had expected. So May 2010, we found out we were going to get laid off. In June, Andy, lucky him, lost his job first, and so I still had to keep working for a year. And then I lost my job in January of 2011. So, but I mean, I was pretty committed to doing whatever I could outside of the working hours to paint and, you know, sometimes pull taps after getting off the road and all the other things. And so starting with a 1 barrel, we just kind of gradually kept keeping up with what we felt was a reasonable and practical growth model for us. And here we are. We just literally launched 2 more 120 barrel fermenters in our production site today, just half hour ago.
For all that
Oh my gosh,
51K.
that's incredible, because you started off as a nano brewery. Yeah, that's thank you for doing that, because you know my addiction to that beer. But to go from what you was essentially a nano brewery of 1 barrel at the 3rd Street pub to a separate production facility and a 20 barrel system, and now adding in those fermenters, that's some incredible growth for a brewery that's located in the UP of Michigan.
It surely is.
Yep.
I won't hog it all, Andy. You can talk.
No, go ahead. It's pretty incredible. You know, Keweenaw was up here before us. They were the first microbrewery in the UP, and they really cleared a lot of brush for breweries to come afterwards. And
so he's got a little connection issue. So we were on kind of a lower end of the curve, at least in the UP, as far as craft beer. It's certainly been blowing up all throughout the rest of the state. And so we were kind of able to ride the coattails a little bit. And then it just, you know, then Ordoc opened, and we've had a few open since then. But, you know, right place, right time in a lot of instances, maybe slower growth. And obviously the UP has really blown up in the last, you know, 10 years compared to what I remember it as. We're becoming quite a destination with the speed limit changes. Everything's a little bit easier to get to. And I think people are really, you know, appreciating what we have up here as far as our, you know, our beautiful surrounds, as well as the lake, and then, you know, great opportunities for dining and beer. That's
for sure. So what is it about UP beer that sets it apart? What makes your beer special and different from other breweries in Michigan?
Well, we're fortunate to have that big body of water down the block, Lake Superior, which is one of our primary ingredients. I really do think the water is incredible. We got a great family of people that work for us too. I mean, we all work towards the same goal, and everybody is as passionate as the other person. So there's a real connectivity of trying to make sure that we're doing something right, that we can be proud to put the Blackrocks label in Marquette, Michigan on. And I'm sure this happens city by city, but the support level that we got from the Upers initially to help build us so we could actually go below the bridge was really tremendous and really warranted for our path.
I love that. Well, let's get to the beer of the week so we can talk about some of your brews and that you guys are making. Our pick for beer of the week, and I think we all have it, right? And boys, I have been waiting a long time for this. So you guys brewed this up, and you had it up in the U. Hello, honey lamb. Hello.
Hey there. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So you guys, we originally had planned on doing this around the beginning of May as part of our Beer of the Month series, and then we pushed it off because it wasn't quite ready due to the coronavirus and stuff. And then you actually made a batch and got it out to the UP in northern Michigan, but you didn't have enough for little me down here. So I had to wait. And actually, it's just arrived in Grand Rapids yesterday. And our good friend Tim Willey from Alliance Beverage pulled it directly off the truck for me to have a sample. But the rest of our friends down here will get it starting next week. So it's kind of a rollout of Honey Lab this year, right?
Yep.
Right. I mean, we always have the logistics to kind of deal with. And obviously with our distributor Griffin and the UP being right in our back door, they're going to get it first. So you're going to kind of have that concentric blowout of release time. Very difficult for us with our just-in-time kind of brewing process to stagger and have it in the warehouse and then be like, okay, here's the release date. So for us, it is kind of a rolling out. It drives Steve Farr, our pirate of propaganda, a little nuts because we'll make a post and then people downstate are like, when's it on the shelves? Like, well, in your case, it might be 2 weeks. Sorry, but what's the bottom of your can say? What's the date on your can?
My can, well, first it says, we love you.
We love you.
That's what I
Mine says 5/20/20. So yeah, this was just canned 8 days ago. So is that part of your just-in-time brewing philosophy, that you're not brewing to keep in storage, you're brewing to get it out there immediately?
Well, with the specialties, the intent is to try to get it out en masse as much as we can. Now the Honey Lab's a little different because we try to extend that season a little bit more into the summer, of course. But everything that we've been doing to date has been pretty much out the door as soon as we can get it packaged. So that's a great thing, and it's a testament to all the great people out there who've given us a shot and who've enjoyed anything that we've made.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's crack it open. You guys already have yours open.
All right. Mine's not open. I was waiting.
Okay, we'll get a pour here. Oh, it's such a beautiful golden color. One of the reasons why I get so excited about this beer is because I do really, truly love to drink seasonally. And I look forward to these special releases. So I have something new in my glass.
There it is.
I need a better light on it, I think. It needs a spotlight of its own. But And so this is one of those beers that to me says A, summer, and B, summer in the UP. And that's when I come up to the UP, I am the person that goes and buys like a couple cases of it.
we do appreciate it.
No problem. Someone, Carrie, is asking, where can they get Honey Lab in the Metro Detroit area?
Well, I know, not to pick out on any particular place, but I know Holiday Market is usually really good by picking up our stuff. Ashley is a pretty early adopter of us, and he's always asking for more and asking to get the best and the newest. So he's definitely going to be a great shot. And I would say, based on what we just sent them, anybody in your local metro should be able to order it from their Imperial reps. So if you have a favorite bottle store or even grocery market, they can get it for you.
8 Degrees Plato too is
8 Degrees.
Yep. Really supporter of ours, but like David said, I think it's in most shops, most liquor stores.
Yeah, I see it all over once it finally arrives, and I do see it pretty frequently. So let's talk about Honey Lab in general. The first thing, it's a honey lavender beer. What's the base beer to this?
So it's a wheat, American wheat.
Oh my gosh, as soon as I take a whiff, you definitely get the lavender in the aroma so much. But then when you taste it, it's not overwhelming at all, which is what I like. It's not like overly flowered or anything like that. So it's really nicely balanced with just a hint of lavender in the flavor.
That's definitely.
Yeah, and I think we've been kind of no, please, you go.
Oh, please, you go.
No.
No, go ahead.
We've been constantly kind of tweaking the recipe. We're trying to stay as true to the original as we had at the pub, but I can tell you some of those first production batches that we did were maybe a little heavy on the lavender. And so we've dialed it back to the point where we feel pretty comfortable that it's going to be a nice balance between the honey, the lavender, and then the malt bill and everything else. But it can be a divisive beer. Some people just absolutely have this aversion to anything lavender, and that's okay. We understand that, but there's also a lot of people who really enjoy it. I like the mouthfeel. I like the flavor. It's easy.
It is. It's a very, very easy drinking beer. And you guys use Michigan honey in it, correct?
That's right. Yeah. We Sleeping Bear Apiary, Sleeping Bear Farms down in Beulah, Michigan.
Hot.
Haven't been. Need to go.
Yeah. I'll give you all the suggestions, buddy.
I know. I have a feeling you know where to go. But we've worked exclusively with them. We've never strayed, and they've always produced a very consistent, really good honey. And we're proud to be able to kind of spend our money on a local or Michigan-based company, because it's important for all of us to support each other.
That's for sure. Now, what does honey do when you put it into a beer? Why is it appealing to add it to a beer?
I think in my opinion, it's going to add, I mean, obviously it's got a little bit of fermentable capabilities, so you can up the volume without having too much of that saccharine flavor, but it also just kind of gives it a mellow golden sweetness. I mean, that's about the only way I can describe it. Andy, do you have any flavor sensations?
I find it doesn't come out to be like candy sweet. It's more just like this smooth, round sweetness that I like.
I would agree, Andy. It rounds out the beer is how I would describe it. And it's not like typically if you use it correctly, you don't taste necessarily honey, but it just rounds out the whole beer, which is why I find it really appealing with this. I think it really complements that lavender and creates just it's much more balanced all the way around.
For sure. Yeah,
it's a fun beer. It's a unique beer. We really like our labeling on this beer. It stands out.
It does.
We have a nickname for this guy. It's Evander Honeyfield.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, it's a little internal kind of thing.
Off the record, everyone. Off the record.
Evander Honeyfield.
I love it. So how long will Honey Lav be around on shelves in Michigan?
So our goal is to have it, into July. I mean, that really depends on the consumers and their rate of consumption. We slotted at X amount of brews. We're also nimble enough that if we get into late June and it looks like we're just going to have nothing on the shelves, we can brew it again. So we would like to have it into July, towards the end of July, because it's just such a great summer beer.
It is. I like that. And I like that you mentioned that you guys are nimble, that you're the type of brewery that can pivot and change according to whatever might be happening out in the marketplace.
Right. Yeah. And I think maybe one of the fun ones that we're doing right now is the whole lager series. We've just really gotten into lagers. Chut, our pub brewer, kind of started it and really got some great recipes. Super Deluxe, which is out right now, is phenomenal. What was the other one? Raven?
Yep, the Bach.
Yep, and the Bach. So we've been able to just kind of decide to make a little change, and with the addition of our new 120s, we can kind of focus on the core brands for those, and then play. It's almost press ale season too. I'm hard to believe it's almost June, but we'll be throwing press ale out again, and a few others. We haven't decided on Hiawatha yet, but I think we probably will, just to keep them supported.
Yep.
All sorts of good things. Now, I have a kind of a technical questions for our people who are watching who might not know. Why are lagers a big deal, and what makes them different from your usual ales that you're brewing at Blackrocks?
Well, I guess they are a big deal. I mean, they're constantly falling on that new trend. What beers are what people are really gravitating to, and lagers are one of them. And so you asked, how are they different? Fermentation process is quite different. So lower temperature, different yeast strains, longer fermentation times. They really clean up. They really become a crisp, highly drinkable beer because of that. And lagers aren't always pilsners and light beers. Sometimes black lagers or Bachs really can add and bring in those chocolatey flavors and roasty flavors, but still really not present themselves as a big, heavy, stout ale, or something like that. So, I think lagers are, that's one of the reasons why we're doing it, is because pretty much all of us at the brewery really enjoy lagers. And, will a black ale be a huge seller or a Bach? Maybe. You don't know, but we like it. We like to try it, and we'd like to, enjoy it while it's around. For example, the Helles that's out right now is definitely a brewery favorite among the staff, and which can also be a problem with supply. But I'm
Everyone's not
guilty
drinking
too.
it.
I'm guilty of it too. But yeah, lagers are it's a great category of beer.
I think as we kind of developed our chops and our brewers developed our chops, it's a very naked style in a lot of cases. Maybe not so much the box or you know, a Raven, a dark lager series. But you know, if you go with a classic Pilsner or a super deluxe, they're a naked beer. If there's any flaws, they're going to be pronounced. You know, you're not really having a hop profile to lean on. You're not really having any of the other potential ingredients that you can kind of lean on. So it's a real challenge to brew a clean, crisp, like unadulterated lager. And so I think the brewers kind of feel like it's a real opportunity to kind of get around that and see how well they can do it. And they've done a great job. I will say Andrew and Evan and Charles, our brewers, are really knocking it out of the park.
That's awesome. Yeah, Pilsners to me they're the hardest beer to brew because, like you said, there's nothing to hide behind. You've got
Bar
to
none.
spot on.
Sure, but you got that Lake Superior water kind of shining through, which is nice too.
That's your secret ingredient, guys.
There's a lot of it out there.
There's a lot of water up there.
How much beer we can do with that?
I love that. Well, in addition to Honey Lab and some of your lagers, you have a couple flagship beers, including, as you know, one of my favorites, 51K, which is a
What? You like that?
IPA. I know. Everybody knows it's like my addiction, right? But one of the beers that I have recently fallen in love with from you guys over the last few months is the Kiss IPA. And that is really great beer and kind of one that it seems is newer into distribution. I think I'd had it at the pub before, but now I'm seeing it all over the place in cans.
Yep, that's correct. So we started it at the pub. Again, Chut was kind of playing around. And I guess we kind of say it's similar to our take on a New England style. You know, we kind of wanted it to have that real flavorful hop profile. And we really just tried it out in the production run. And it was really met with some really strong consumer love. I mean, people were just all over it. So we moved it into kind of the year-round basis. It's while not as prevalent as 51K, Rabbits, Coconut or Honey Lab. Coconut's going to be going to a seasonal bookend status now, but it's like a 1 or 2 a month brew for us. And so if you see it, I'd grab it because it's not always going to be there, but it should be.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
That's a good warning for everyone out there. Go buy it now.
Well, we're working with the limited hop supply, and we picked some really nice hops in there that are, you know, a lot of high demand. And so we really can only go based on what we're able to gather from our cooperatives and from our distributors. So
that makes sense. So there's limits in supply even in the brewing industry right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it always has been, especially for some of these hops. I wouldn't say it's a COVID related. I think it's just
it's just a hop related.
It's just hop related.
Gotcha. Isn't it funny how some hops are so trendy? I don't want to say trendy, but popular, I guess is the word. Sure. That you guys are all like, I need this hop. And like Amarillo seem to always be that way. It's so popular and there's not enough of it.
Citra.
Funny story about that. So I think we were still at the pub. Yeah, we were still at the pub. So we were brewing on, I think at the 3-barrel and the 1-barrel was going at the same time. And I think we requested a hop, and at the time it was Hop Union, who we get our hops from. They called and they said, sorry, we don't have that hop or not enough. And they said, but we have this hop called Galaxy. You might want to give it a shot. And so we got, you know, we were bootstrapping and we could afford maybe a box, like a 44-pound box. And we got it and we tried it in a beer and we're just like, yeah, oh my gosh, this is great. And so we immediately called back and said, you know, here's my credit card. Can we get a couple more boxes? The following year, we couldn't get it. I think it was like caught on so fast. And it is a great hop. I mean, it's Australian, really, really fun hop to play with, but really hard to find now.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for sharing all your beers with us. Is there anything coming up that you want to share about Blackrocks Brewing? Any new beers? Any expansion plans? Anything?
Sure. Well, in regards to the pub, I just had an email pop up on my phone from the liquor control, so I'm hoping that's an approval for the back parking lot, and we're partnering with a local company in town to put up a beer tent there.
Oh, cool.
Our city of Marquette has lightened restrictions on seating on your own personal property outside, so it could be Tent-tober Fest all summer long up here with very spaced out tables, which is great. I mean, it's not as good as it would be, but that's fantastic. And David did allude to the fact that we're waiting on approval to actually do an expansion over to the side. Well, not totally yet, but
right.
Hey, we're trying to get over here a little bit and make some space along the side of the house. So. Which would help out too in the summer, especially if we weren't in the middle of Corona. But yeah, so there's some fun things there, and Chut's always brewing up some great brews here. 16 beers on tap, so they're rotating all the time. It's really tough to get bored with beers at the pub. And like David mentioned, Press Gale's coming out, and possibly Hiawatha locally. So there's going to be some fun beers to look forward to this summer.
I love it. Well, I think that Tent-tober Fest sounds amazing. I'll come
It could be really fun.
Capacity. No, there's only 40 people in there. Oh, well.
I think it sounds great. Hey, if people want to get more information about Blackrocks, see the beers that you brew, maybe find out where they can get some or plan a visit to your brewery in Marquette, where should they go?
They can go to www.blackrocksbrewery.com. Obviously, social media, Facebook, Instagram. And I got to put a plug out because I'm amazed that more people aren't using this app, but it's called Beer Menus. I don't know if you have that, Amy, but boy, it's a great app. If you're even locally in the Marquette area and you are curious when we're going to put on Honey Lavender or what's the latest creation that Chut's put on, it'll send you an alert and say, Blackrocks Brewery just put on Honey Lavenders. And that works for wherever you are. So if you're in Detroit and you're visiting and you put in your location, or it automatically determines your location, it'll tell you what breweries and what places have on draft who are participating in Beer Menus. We participate. We like it. We love it. We often get questions of what's on tap today. And so we direct people to that app. And I wish more people would utilize it. I have no interest in the company. I just think it's a great resource.
I love it. Well, thank you for the tip. You can help you optimize your drinking pleasure and find the right beers for you. That's awesome. Dave and Andy from Blackrocks Brewery in Marquette, Michigan, thank you for joining us on Beer of the Week.
Cheers. Thank you, Amy. Great to see you. Wait, label out.
Label out. There you go. If you want more information, head to MLive.com.